Sometimes it seems that the backrooms is a completely empty space, consisting of endless corridors and abandoned utility rooms. However, people who find themselves in the backrooms know that a lot of entities live in this place, where at absolutely any moment you can meet facelings, smiling, hounds, skin stealers and other backrooms entities. But, despite the fact that all of the listed entities are very dangerous, among them there are truly anomalous representatives. They are also called -entities backroom, and it is better to never meet them. Therefore, today I will tell you about such entities and what will happen if you do meet them. I hope it turns out to be very interesting. Well, friends, let's imagine for a second that you are stuck at some dangerous level, wandering through endless corridors. You finally find a way out. However, when you approach the doors, you notice that they are somehow suspicious. In fact, in front of you is not a way out at all, but an entity numbered 2. 1. False doors. This entity looks like the simplest wooden doors that can be found in the backroom. As you approach the doors, you will hear muttering, reminiscent of incoherent speech. At this moment, just turn around and go back. Otherwise, you will be finished. The false wooden door attacks every person who tries to approach them. And the whole problem is that backrooms, you never know which door in front of you is real. If you accidentally open the false door, you will find yourself in an empty space without any lighting. This place where you will end up is not a level, but most likely some kind of pocket dimension. Therefore, it will not be possible to escape from there even with the help of rituals. But in fairness, it is worth noting that only wooden doors pose a danger, while iron doors cannot be entities. And the next entity on our list is -777, Frowning. They are an anomalous object that looks like an upside-down smile. As you understand, this entity is the exact opposite of the smiling ones and is found in the minus levels of the backrooms, where it is very difficult to reach. When you see this entity, just run as quickly as possible and don't even try to attack it. After all, in essence, this entity is a transparent sprite that can pass through walls, which means that physical damage simply does not work on it, no matter how hard you try. But if the frowning ones still catch you, then consider yourself very unlucky. After all, you will find yourself at the Mansion of Sadness level, where there are a lot of entities, and it is almost impossible to survive at this level. Therefore, every person who gets there is considered irretrievably lost and no one else will look for him. So think twice if you decide to encounter this entity. And the next entity is called Party Crashers, and there's a whole giant faction backrooms that is made up of a sub-entity of Party Pooper. Their appearance is a little different from those Party Pooper we are used to seeing. Party Crashers appear as humanoids who wear tactical armor. They are dressed in a completely sealed suit that protects them from the effects of anomalies, and they are also equipped with heavy weapons such as machine guns, and even a minigun. And the main task of this faction is to destroy the virus known as the disease. After all, infection with this virus leads to the fact that people gradually become partygoers, but not at all the kind that meet at the level of fun. Infected partygoers look like ordinary people, but behave like zombies. Therefore, the faction is trying to destroy this virus in order to protect the backrooms from it. And the largest outposts of this faction are at level -4, -250, and 815. Thanks to the protective armor, Party Crashers can easily survive at these levels. However, where their main base is located is still unknown, and the next entity in line is -96 observers. Quite often on the internet you can see very strange photographs that depict an entity in the shape of a large eye with wings. When I looked into it, I found out that this entity is called the Observer, and it is very common in the backrooms levels associated with Dreamcore. If you're wondering, Dreamcore is a liminal space that evokes feelings of nostalgia, calm, or even fear, like a completely empty school at 12 o'clock at night or a giant playground for children with absolutely no one there. All this can be called in one word liminality or simply Dreamcore. It is in such places that there are observers who will keep an eye on you, like the sky, inextricably linked to these mysterious landscapes. This essence appears at the moment when a person is immersed in a deep sense of nostalgia that even a person begins to forget where he is in the backroom or in the real world. And only after that you will begin to see observers who will fly above you. This entity is also found on a level called Mushroom, where you can see a large number of observers who will be literally everywhere. There is an opinion that these eyes belong to some entity that is located in a parallel dimension, or maybe these eyes belong to the Backrooms itself, or maybe these are hallucinations. There is no way to know for sure. After all, to do this you will have to go Backrooms, and the next entity will, perhaps, be one of the most dangerous. After all, it can be found not only Backrooms, but even in our world. This is a mysterious entity Backrooms, a pseudo moon. Have you ever had the feeling that there is something strange in the sky? Or maybe you felt like this moon was stalking you. It's okay, you didn't think it was really what you think. The pseudo moon entity looks like a real one, but it is not. She is found in the Backrooms night levels after 12 o'clock at night. Upon noticing a person, the moon will chase him across the sky until she decides to attack. And when she attacks, she simply rams a person, but her size does not increase. And it is quite easy to calculate the fake moon. After all, the real one simply doesn't move across the sky. Also, the size of the fake moon is slightly larger than that of the real one, and it shines twice as brightly. If you see something like this in the sky, try to go into some room and do not leave it until the moon leaves. And if there are no premises near you, then just start filming the moon with your camera, and for some reason it stops, trying not to give itself away. On my own behalf, I would like to add that there is a full moon in the sky now, and the moon is somehow strange. I probably wouldn't risk leaving the house at 12 o'clock at night, even though we're in not Backrooms. And our next sub-entity will be 67. 5. Disease. Earlier in this video, I already mentioned such a virus as a disease. It's time to tell you more about her. After all, this is a very dangerous entity. In general, the disease is a virus, which, in turn, is the sub-entity partygoers. Essentially, they have something in common, and it turns out that they have the same origin. However, what happens after contracting the disease is not at all what we are used to seeing on a fun level. Infected people do not lose their human form or turn into yellow entities. Instead, they become like zombies and start attacking people. And for infection, it is enough to simply touch the patient. Therefore, the virus spreads very quickly. Drinking almond water can slow down the transformation, but it cannot completely cure a person. To do this, you will need neon water, royal rations, or more serious Backrooms objects. The disease is spreading very quickly, and many backroom levels have already turned into a zombie apocalypse. And in order to stop this entity, a faction of Party Crasher was created, which I already mentioned. And now it's clear why Party Pooper joined this faction, because they really don't like partygoers. Even though these are non-standard partygoers and something like a virus, but they are still partygoers, so everything is logical. And the next in line is Entity 554 Super Flesh. Unfortunately, I had to censor these images so that YouTube would not bother me, but I still decided to talk about this terrible entity, because it is very interesting. The appearance of this entity resembles a whole mountain of flesh, the size of which exceeds many levels. This entity moves around the backroom, absorbing everything in its path. And with each new absorption, the size of the entity increases, and so on ad infinitum. And when this entity absorbs things, it will be able to use them in absolutely any way. For example, after absorbing people, the entity becomes smarter, and the absorption of metal becomes armor that protects this entity. Given the size of this entity, it is not difficult to imagine how many things it has already devoured, and there are rumors that she is very smart, much smarter than any person. But you can meet this entity at level 5946, which looks like an abandoned library, and it is possible that this level was once inhabited until this entity devoured everyone.